YouTubers. I don't know how good the audio is going to be on this video camera because it's new, but I just wanted to make a quick YouTube video and give you a sort of update really on what's going on. My Edge Pro 3 Tremolo on my RG guitar decided to break on me the other day. Wasn't very happy, but I guess these things happen. So I thought, it's just only a spring. The spring mechanism that goes in the back, one of the springs broke. Not quite as simple, unfortunately. The actual little spring piece broke, and it left the little part of the spring, or the bent part of the wire that goes and hooks into the bottom of the tremolo. It left that down in the hole, so it wouldn't come out no matter what I tried. So it seemed like a good sort of time really to think about doing possibly a fix, maybe even a mod to improve it. So I did, and I ended up being able to fasten a brass block onto the bottom of the Edge Pro 3, which I've not seen anybody manage to do yet, and if there has been anybody out there that's done it, I haven't managed to find any YouTube videos of anybody who's managed to do it. So I thought, after I'd done it and it worked, I thought that I would share that with you, maybe inspire somebody else out there to think, Christ, I've got a knackered tremolo, same thing, something similar, I'll give that a go. Or you might be able to come up with a better idea or better design, better work, or whatever. Anyway, this is what basically I did, and gives you an idea as to what some form of inspiration, maybe an idea or whatever. And tell us what you think. Use the comments below. Let us know what you think about it. So basically, what we have here is a Edge Pro Tremolo Pro 3, which people say are not the best of things. This already has the brass block fitted. As I say, I've run it and I've tested it, and it works. So I thought I'd take it out and sort of show you. Now, what this is basically under here you have this aluminium black block here. This black block obviously comes with the holes that these springs slot into. What happened was, obviously, as I say, the spring broke, it got lost inside the hole, it didn't want to come out, it was in there, so out the window. What I did was, instead of getting any casting done, which would have to be to cast the brass block and cast this whole area at the bottom here, because this on the Edge Pro 3, this whole bottom piece is cast in high quality aluminium, and it is a high quality aluminium. It's the same kind of aluminium that we use on Kawasaki cylinder heads, or even Triumph motorcycle cylinder heads. Very good quality alloy. And basically, this, as I say, I would have to have that cast into brass, which I didn't want to do, because that's silly expensive, silly money. I haven't got casting facilities anyway. So what I did was I chopped, as you can see, I chopped here flush, so this was a straight line, and I very carefully filed this as flat as possible. You want to get this part where the brass block is going to meet the aluminium as flush as possible, because that way, as I say, you can bolt it on. The pressure is going to be clamped on there. The next thing, as I say, I did was get some 5/8. This here is made out of 5/8 stock brass square bar. Nothing fancy, nothing whatever. You can buy this fairly cheaply. I think it cost me £6 for the bar. It's 67. You should measure yours across, because obviously, being these are cast, they're fairly accurate, but they do have different point differences. But for me, it was about 67mm in length from the tremolo hole post, because that's what these are. These things on the end here. Obviously they can be reversed for right hand and left hand, but it's 67 the length of the brass block. I then basically came to the discussion, because what happens here, I was going to bolt it straight down through the actual spring retainer bar across the top here, and I was going to use that and use long screws, and that was going to bolt it down to the bottom. But what you'll find is Ibanez didn't drill the holes straight, so they're all cock idle down there, and they go off in tangents, and it's pretty mashed up inside there. It's not the best. It's not the best of attention to detail that Ibanez has spent on that. So what I did was I went with the option of fully extended across, and then slightly, yeah, you can just see that as I slightly went down and across, like these little L's on either side. It sort of looks like a, you know, a pickup mount. Well, these go down 8mm and in 8mm onto the 5/8 bar to give that recess, and then in there, as I say, is a brass screw. I use brass screws. Brass into aluminium is always better. I don't. You should try and avoid stainless steel onto aluminium. They don't like each other. But basically, but that's what they are, and they fasten in there. Obviously I've drilled and tapped into the aluminium part at the bottom so that they can screw in, and that fastens that block securely onto the mounting base of the tremolo. On the top here we have the part, obviously, which is the part which takes on to the springs. Now what I'll do for you is I'll quickly take the springs off so you can have a look, give you an idea of how I've done it. Now there is an angle that's put onto the edge of the tremolo. Now that's because the Edge Pro 3 Tremolo the block doesn't go straight down into the guitar like any of the other Floyd Rose type stuff. It goes down with at an angle, in sense. Let me take the springs out before they fall out. Instead, what happens is that this tremolo, because if you can see, you see this angle on the top face, well, that's supposed to sit flush with the guitar. When that angle sits flush with the guitar on the front, you can see this tremolo, the block, comes at an angle. So that on here they put on the original one a very slight angle on the brass. As you can see that I've got a slightly tapered angle. It's difficult to see on the camera because of the glare of the shine, but you can see the two different parts of the surface. There's flat, there's angled. Obviously this brass block's a lot thicker, so therefore that piece of that angle there, I didn't angle the whole block, I just angled that front part where the springs are going to go. As you can see on here, you've got the holes. Now this one here is the two threaded, again, holes to mount the brace to hold the springs in. And then you've got the 3 spring holes. Now the 3 spring holes I did at 2mm in diameter. The thread holes here I used because I didn't actually have any other screws available, so what I did was I used the electrical contractors screws, the stuff that you find in electrical socket outlets, which is a 3.5 by 0.6 thread, which works very adequately, and obviously you can quite easily obtain countersunk brass screws for that purpose. But on here, as I say, we have 2mm now. Obviously you work out your dimensions as such, you can work them out yourself, but pretty much, as I say, you go straight to the centre. The middle spring is bang on in the centre of the whole length of the bar. If you work from the centre, if we're going from the centre, it's 11mm to the first threaded hole for the mounting bar, and then it's another 11mm to the spring clamp, or the springs hole before the end of the block. Everything else can be played with, but it's, as I say, working from the centre, it goes 11mm, then another 11mm, which in total comes 22mm between the spring holes. So you've got one spring hole here, then 22mm to the centre, and then same obviously for the other side, because it's exact, you know, mirror image from the centre, which is pretty much how we work in engineering. We work on, you know, from centre lines rather than, you know, most other people who work from sidelines and things. But so this is that's basically how it's done, and that's the block there. Now obviously what I've done is, if you can see here, there is a lip. I found a small lip to recess it in because the block was 5/8. It's a little bit too big, and basically these springs, if we can see, were a little, they took a little bit off just so that they can fit in, because obviously, as I say, they wouldn't, because it was too wide. But that's not a problem, you see. I took a little shaving off on the side, and obviously now they fit lovely, snug, nice, tight and firm, no rattling, no nothing. That is the mod to brass block the Edge Pro 3 Ibanez Tremolo system. Obviously put it all back together and whatever. Now it weighs substantially more, obviously, because this is a fairly big brass block, and in a sense that's kind of what you need, or what you want. You want that bit of extra whatever. Don't forget to clean up and polish up. You want things looking good. So as you can see, this shines and it's got a nice tint to it. So all good. Seems to work okay. I shall give it some real good welly, and I'll probably do another video of you know, playing example to see what it sounds like. But that's pretty much it. That's a brass block mod. Reason being is because, as I say, it broke. But yeah, that's it. So that's all for today, my good YouTubers. I hope that sort of inspired some of you to maybe think about, you know, better design, or something else that you think you might be able to do. If you've got a broken tremolo or something, then you can give it a go. It's just a lot of handwork, file and saw. We've not all got, you know, milling machines and this, that and the rest of it, so we can't all sit there and mill, because it would be ideal just to stick a miller down and just mill this, you know, mill that piece off that, you know, would have been under there, which obviously I've taken off because this is already done. But yeah, it would be easy to do with a mill, but we haven't got a miller. So, you know, chop it up with a hacksaw and sit there with a file and flatten it out, balance it out, make it as flat as you possibly can. Bugs your uncle. That's it. So anyway, thanks for now, my good YouTubers. I hope the video and the audio works, and we'll see what happens when it uploads. Anyway, thanks a lot, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye bye.